What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Bourbon, Buzzed, and Ballin podcast. We are your hosts, Kolby and Dut, and we got a podcast that we like to talk sports and drink some bourbon. At the end, we always like to rate a few choice bourbons.
Yeah, we're gonna stick with we got a couple more Old Foresters this week, so that'd be 3 weeks in a row where we knocked out that Whiskey Row series, and we got the original tonight, and
the original, starting from the bottom and working our way up.
Yep. So we kind of did it backwards a little bit.
We did.
We went with what was available to us at the time, but
that doesn't surprise me. We would do something backwards. We kind of jumped 2 feet in, but we like to talk sports, just general. Obviously, it's football season, so and we're like most of the average Joes. We love football, so we kind of talk mostly about football,
right.
But we like to maybe bring in some baseball, some playoffs, some World Series talk. Of course, if you followed our show so far, you've seen that we like the opening toast. We have a scumbag of the week. We have different segments we do, but what we really try to do with this podcast is just give a general conversation about sports, our insight or our opinions on stuff.
Basically what we'd be doing anyway, we're just filming it.
Just filming it and putting it out there on social media.
We'd be sitting around drinking some bourbon talking sports anyway, so we figured might as well film it, make it a podcast.
Might as well subject you to our opinions.
That's right.
Well, why don't you
you want to start with the opening toast?
Yeah, let's open this up.
All right, let's start with the opening toast. I know you've got one and I've got one. Mine, I'm going to go with Alabama cornerback Eli Ricks. Now, he was just named for this past week the Benerick Defensive Player of the Week.
Sweet.
And this was his first start of the season. He was a highly decorated transfer that came over from LSU to Alabama.
5-star recruit.
He was preseason All-American before he even stepped on the field at Alabama.
Hasn't even played very much, and he's still in everybody's mock draft.
Yeah, it's one of the like a top 10 cornerback for the draft next year. He when he got to Alabama, he was battling some back injuries. Early on, he was playing sparingly, and when he was playing poorly.
Right. I don't think that. I think he gained so much confidence, man, and his game was. I mean, I basically watched him almost every play.
Right.
That that they were focusing in on him.
Oh, he was
shut down, man.
He was no disrespect to Will Anderson, but in that game, he was probably the best defensive player on the field.
He contested every pass except for 2 that I counted.
Yep.
I mean,
he was credited with 4 PBUs, pass breakups. And the reason I want to recognize him is because in today's world of entitled athletes and how people jump in and out of the transfer portal any time of the year.
Sure.
Him being such a 5-star, he was a freshman All-American at LSU, highly decorated. He had his pick of any school he could have went to.
Right.
And he gets here and he's not got any playing time. But he never complained, kept putting in the work, worked his ass off in practice. Got after the Tennessee shellacking,
it was
and
obvious.
And Terry Arnold kind of got exposed. He got his shot, and when that opportunity came, he crushed it.
I feel like Coach knew when the time was right. I mean, personally, after watching Saturday, I felt like the time was wrong because he should have been in.
Right.
But I believe you just have to kind of trust in what Coach Saban does because, I mean, like you said earlier, he struggled in spot places in earlier games. Yeah. And I think he just wasn't engaged. Yeah. And knowing he was starting, he had the confidence. He was engaged. He even stated himself that it felt good to contribute. Mm-hmm. And so I think for a kid like a 5-star, a highly decorated cornerback who's already being put on an island by themselves, and they have to have a whole different mentality. Right. And if you have a little bit of confidence lag, you're in trouble. You're in trouble.
You're toast, literally.
So exactly.
So that's why I wanted to toast to him because I'm proud of what he accomplished and the determination and not just pouting and being entitled. But
there was some negativity about him out there on social media throughout the last couple of months.
Right.
You know, like, is it his attitude? You know, what is it why isn't Eli Ricks on the field?
And that's the thing. Nobody knows what's going on behind the scenes.
You don't.
So
you don't.
You know, a lot of
that's why we're fans and we're
exactly.
Yeah, our opinions are just that. They're just opinions.
So I got Eli. Who you got?
I got the great Jim Nantz.
Okay.
Yeah, Jim Nantz announced that he's stepping away from the basketball tournament.
Right.
In which he's been calling the NCAA tournament since '86, and ironically, he started in Houston calling the tournament.
Is that
where he went to school?
Oh, okay, is that where?
And that's where he's calling it this year, where it ends.
Or actually,
so
I guess 2023.
Yeah,
but
2023, which seems like he kind of pre-planned it this way.
Yeah.
He's still going to be calling NFL and of course the Masters and some select golf tournaments. So, you know, I enjoy Jim Nantz's.
Yeah, he's one of the best.
He is. He's really good. I mean, and his voice is just it's synonymous to me with the Masters golf, and so gonna miss him.
Okay.
On the big dance for sure.
Well, Eli and Jim, cheers.
Cheers.
What you sipping on this evening?
Woo.
Something to knock your socks off.
Yeah, I got an Old Forester. We're sticking with the Old Forester line.
Family.
They have a very long line and every different dollar amount all the way up.
Right.
To the unicorn birthday that's worth hundreds that we can't find.
Haven't seen it anywhere.
Excuse me. So this is the Prohibition style. What is it?
115, I think, proof.
It's got me. 115 proof.
Maybe it'll help you with that cough.
Yeah, so I apologize for the cough, but I've been battling a cold. But that's good, man. It's smooth.
Well, I'm a creature of habit, I guess. I got the Statesman again. But it's so good and
probably the favorite out of the whole line.
Yeah, it is my favorite. Barely edging out the 1910. The 1910 was we both gave it a neat also, but,
right.
But I still prefer the oranginess of this over the oatmeal raisin of the 1910.
Oatmeal raisin. Yeah, but we got two new Foresters tonight, so we might have a new contender.
Yeah, the ones and it's kind of they're a little bit lower proof tonight. Yeah. We got an 86 proof, and I believe the other one is a 93.
I think it is 93.
But we'll address that when we go over to the bar at the end of the show. But anyway, those are our toasts. So let's talk about the opposite.
All right.
Who we toast, and that's the scumbag of the week.
I gotta say, I had to stretch a little bit. Nobody really jumped out like they have been.
Yeah, I mean, unless we would have stuck with some repeat offenders like Antonio Brown, who's still
chirping.
He won't go away.
No, I mean he's not relevant anymore, and so he's got to keep.
And I know your scumbag of the week is one that we've mentioned on here before. So she's kind of a recurring, but she was back in the news again this week.
And I'm gonna kind of use. You want me to just break in? Let me break in. I'm my scumbag of the week actually is gonna be the United States government.
Okay, you flipped it on me.
I'm gonna flip it. Okay. It's gonna be the U.S. government with the Brittany Griner story.
Okay.
She's lost her appeal. If you haven't heard that. It got denied. They're going to uphold that in Russia.
Yeah, her 9-year sentence.
And the United States government, President Biden still getting involved in discussing this prisoner swap. And, of course, they're still discussing, the murderer and the guns dealer as the prisoners, which isn't an equal swap. It's a ridiculous swap. The murderer is not even in U.S. custody. He's in Germany custody. So it's not even, so they're working with Germany on that. But the biggest thing I'm getting from the story is we have a Marine, an ex-Marine, Paul Whelan, who has been in prison since 18 for an espionage charge. Right. That seems flimsy. And yet he's still stuck over there. And we're worrying more about Brittany Griner. I don't want to get too political, but we got a patriot over there that's been supposedly wrongly accused.
Right.
I don't know the facts, but what I do know is that they've They've already exchanged one prisoner, and Wheeling got left behind. And so now if Brittany Griner comes back and we leave a patriot that served his country, defended our freedoms, defended our flag, and we have somebody that
it's not a good look.
It's not a good look.
Yeah.
It's another bad look for our government. And I mean, President Biden is just, I just don't understand where we're at. It's just real iffy. So the U.S. government, you're my scumbag of the week. I wish you would represent us better.
Yeah, well, that's a whole different podcast. So, we talked a lot last week about the Alabama-Tennessee game and how the Tennessee fans stormed the field after the game. Well, a video popped up Monday morning of one of the Alabama players, Jermaine Burton. You can't really tell where he makes contact with this female student of Tennessee, and she kind of, the first clip I saw was just one angle where it looked like he kind of went back after her. But then there was a second clip that showed from the reverse side of her cutting him off and going.
Cut him off. And
then he kind of reached back to push or whatever. Now, my issue with that is, never. I'm a firm believer you never put a hand on a woman. Of course, given that chaos, he might not even realize it was a woman, because he's probably got his head down a little bit and sees a blur go in front of him. So he's a candidate of mine, but he's not my scumbag. My scumbag is anyone that rushes the field during a sporting event, whether it be storming the field after the game or like during the playoff game with the Astros, some dude runs out there to take a selfie with Jose Altuve.
Right.
Altuve doesn't know what this guy's intentions are.
You never do.
That dude that ran in the football game with the smoke blowing out of his back. I mean, he might have had a bomb or something. Nobody's there to see these people.
In this world, you can't trust anything.
No. I mean, think back to 1993 when Monica Seles got stabbed.
Right.
That was 93. Think about how much worse the world is today than in 93.
Yeah.
And you got 75,000 people storming the field just because of a regular season game.
Yeah, and I'll play devil's advocate in everything because I have my own personal take. Number one, I've watched this video ad nauseum. I mean, I have watched this video tons of times. I've listened to other takes. My take is this: she shoved a phone in his face.
Yeah.
And you can see when he reaches back, if you look down to the bottom right, you can see an object go flying. So his account is that he pushed a phone down. Mm-hmm. And there's other accounts that she was attempting to do a social media post and get him in it.
Oh.
And so there's that side of the story. There's no strike or slap.
Right.
That is being completely...
I've heard it described as a punch.
That is so unfairly unjust, blown out of proportion by the media, and then, of course, social media. Anybody who's anti-Alabama has clearly jumped on this. And I get it. It's not a good look.
Yeah, even Pat McAfee was complaining about how Saban handled it.
Well, I kind of wish Saban had suspended Jermaine on the back end of this investigation just because it would have been the right look.
Right.
But at the same time, you got to believe that he has more inside information than any of us.
That we don't have, exactly.
And, I mean, I think it's completely been dishonestly reported. It's unjust. And like you said, I know that's
everything in the media.
Exactly. But like you said, I totally listen, Tennessee, UT fans. I get it. 15 years of beatdowns.
Of all the field storming,
I think Tennessee and the NCAA should have been ready for that.
And I think they were. Because they were joking about it on College Game Day that morning that they already had the goalposts ordered, to replace them. But this past weekend, you got the number 4 team in the country, Clemson, beats Syracuse.
a basketball school.
Yeah, a basketball school that was.
They
were undefeated.
School.
Yeah, they were undefeated. They were ranked 14, but Clemson. Act like you've been there before.
You have been there before. You were considered yourself a dynasty on level with Alabama a few years ago. We see where that's fallen.
Yeah. And now you got your fans storming the field because you beat Syracuse. Yeah. And then it happened twice this week.
LSU over Ole Miss.
What has Ole Miss ever done?
Lane Kiffin, man. Lane Kiffin has vaulted them that LSU felt like they needed to storm the field.
It's a safety issue because...
You know what it is? It's social media, man. They just want to make a big crazy post of the fans,
but nobody's there to see the fans.
No, and it's dangerous.
And what did the fans do that they deserve to be out there celebrating?
They don't,
because they clapped a little bit.
It's dangerous, man.
It's a safety issue.
I've heard on Feinbaum this week. Mm-hmm. You know, Tennessee fans, Georgia fans, any anti-Alabama fan calling and making fun of Saban and our team for saying they were a little scared.
Yeah.
Maybe not scared was the right word.
Right.
But to be honest with you, you have 1,000 fans that have been screaming against you for decades. Drunk. They're looking to maybe make a name for themselves.
Look at the Texas.
Anything
look
can
at the
happen.
Texas Tech fan that shoved a Texas player. What if he blows out an ACL? Because he gets pushed and he wasn't ready for it.
And what is Jermaine? What is one of our players supposed to do that a couple of people get in their face and taunt them a little? I get it, I understand, but you also have to see it from the players and the coach. They're high profile. Nick Saban's high profile. Now I get it. Saban's covered up by troopers.
But he got bruises last year at A&M.
It's bad. It's bad. I'm glad they're getting fined.
Well, I don't think the fines are enough. And
it's not.
LSU's on their third fine, $250,000.
Yeah.
Has it stopped anything?
Not yet.
I think you got to get drastic. I think if your team storms the field, you forfeit that win.
That's interesting. I've heard that discussion.
That'll keep them off the field. There ain't going to be nothing to celebrate because you just reversed that win. I mean, the dude in the football game running with the smoke, I got no problem if there's a sniper and takes him out.
Well, I mean, he didn't even get egregiously tackled.
Oh, and then he wants to sue.
I know, right? I mean, he laid him down. It's
ridiculous. Stay off the field. If you don't have a uniform, a credential, if you have no reason to be on that playing field, stay off the playing field. You guys are my scumbags of the week.
And I second that. I second that.
It's ridiculous.
Let's move on.
All right, let's come in hot.
Let's do it.
All right.
You lead us. I
tried, because we're going to talk kind of all things sports.
Right.
I tried to go outside the box with my coming in hot with some of your nondescript sports like soccer. And Manchester United is trying to give away Cristiano Ronaldo, and nobody wants to take him.
Nobody wants to take him.
I thought that was kind of...
He's going to end up in the U.S. playing some MLS.
Yeah, maybe. Hey, come to Charlotte.
That'd be sweet. Hey.
I'll go watch him. All right, so that was one thing that kind of caught my eye this past week, that nobody wants the soccer goat, or Pele's probably the soccer goat, but Ronaldo and Messi over the last decade have been the two top players.
Messi for sure.
Yeah. F1, we talked a little bit about it a couple of shows ago and how I'm getting into it. They were in the U.S. this week. They had the U.S. Grand Prix down in Austin, Texas. So it was a great race. I watched it this weekend. Verstappen, the champion, he took first, and then Mercedes and Hamilton was second, and Ferrari with Charles Leclerc was third. So it was a good race. And maybe, on a future podcast, we'll do a little bit more on F1. Try to draw in some more fans, because they're going to be doing 3 races in the U.S. next year.
Racing has definitely not ever been on my radar. I'm not a huge NASCAR fan.
I'll tell you what started it.
I like horse racing.
It comes on. They qualify Saturday morning, usually around 9 a.m. And then the race is Sunday, usually around 9 a.m. And there's no commercials. The race only takes about an hour, or hour and a half. So it's waking up, laying in the bed, flip on the TV. Oh, this, let me see what this is. And
that might be a sport I would dig in person, but
yeah,
man, it's like I get a lot of people who are like, how can you watch golf?
Right.
But when you're into something, you're into something.
Right.
I get it.
And then I saw this today. You remember Lendale White, USC? Did you hear this story?
Oh yeah, $150,000 in cash.
Yeah, somebody accidentally left it in his apartment in a brown paper sack.
That's not a shock.
Well, that's all this NIL and people outraged by, players are getting paid now. Players have been getting paid.
If you think your school hasn't done it or not doing it, yeah, it's definitely not just the big ones, the schools that you think are winning that are getting the paying their players. It just happens.
My last coming in hot topic, I had Coach Prime is getting college game day.
Coach Prime, man. I've had some arguments with some friends about HBCU, and they're a little upset at Prime getting all of this notoriety, and he's not really an HBCU guy.
Right. Well, and even one of the opposing, Eddie Robinson Jr.
That's why it came up.
He was calling him out.
Yeah. It's not a turf war, guys.
No,
it's not a turf
be
war.
proud of the fact that he is bringing all this.
He is high profile. I get it that he went to a Power 5, but why would he not? He's one of the greatest NFL corners ever.
Back then, how many players made it to the NFL? You had some exceptions, and he probably could have been an exception, as gifted as he was.
Sure, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, exactly.
He's an HBCU coach now. He's
doing a hell of a job. His team's 7-0.
Right, and he's bringing recruits in. He's raising the level of the entire conference.
And what is this going to do to recruiting? Saying, hey, college game day's coming.
Right, it's going to blow up for the whole conference.
It helps everybody. So don't be.
It's not a turf war. There's no reason to be upset at Prime, because you absolutely have to have a high-profile player / coach like that to draw people in. He is a magnet. I named my fantasy team after him. That's how much I like Coach Prime, man. And I wasn't even an FSU fan, but even back in the 90s, he was that magnetic.
You can't help but his personality. And what's so funny is he's Primetime and Deion Sanders are two different.
They are different personas.
When the light is on, he's Primetime.
Do you know he almost lost his leg?
Yeah.
I didn't really realize that.
I think he did lose a toe.
He did. Well, he lost a toe and a chunk of his shin and calf. But I watch his TikToks. On obviously on TikTok, he is, man. He just says the right stuff, to his guys.
Right.
He says the right stuff, and then he brings in this. He's like, put my music on, and man, his whole locker room just lights up.
What some of these critics might be setting up for is when he does jump and take a Power 5 job next year or the year after, they can say, see, he wasn't about this.
But that's what it's all about. It's all about moving yourself up the ladder of whatever you want to accomplish. You should still be supportive of Coach Prime, because he is not adversarial. No. In the least, he's not adversarial. No. I don't get it. I've had this argument, and I'll always back Deion. Right. I'll always back him just because he's a high quality dude.
He is a good guy. Very good guy. All right, well, we talked last week about how right now you got everything going on. This is the biggest time of the year for all things sports. So we just decided this week we were just going to kind of jumble it all together and just talk sports.
Yeah.
So first thing I wanted to talk about was we got the Phillies and the Astros starting up Friday in the World Series.
I missed that prediction.
Well, we had the Astros.
Yeah, that was an easy one.
We had that, and they ain't lost a game yet.
Not yet. 7-0, man.
And of course, we talked about the Phillies being on a roll and being hot, but we still weren't believers in them.
I kind of thought the Pods had the firepower and the star power to knock them down, but the Phillies absolutely, played well.
I mean, look who the Phillies.
They have firepower.
They knocked off St. Louis 2-0 in the wild card. Then they knocked off the defending champs 3-1.
Right.
And then they knocked off the Padres 4-1. So, they're sitting at what's that? 9-2.
9-2.
And the Astros are 7. I still.
I mean, hey, can you?
I still can't pull. Yeah. I still can't pick. I'm not pulling really. If I'm pulling for one team, I'd probably be pulling for the Phillies. But I still. My head still tells me the Astros.
That is hard. It's hard for the Astros cheated. I don't think they're cheating now.
Right.
The Phillies fan base. Oh my gosh, the Phillies fan base makes it so hard to back any Philadelphia team.
Right. Well, and
except for
Jalen and
the Eagles,
right.
But the only reason is because of Jalen and Devontae.
They will burn that city to the ground if the Phillies and the Eagles both were to be champions this year.
And the Flyers aren't the Flyers?
The Flyers are
they're so.
Yeah, I don't
think they have a chance.
Yeah, I don't look for them to.
Anyway, back on the Stros. I mean, you got Verlander against Wheeler in Game 1. I don't know. I think the Phillies have a chance to jump out because Verlander's struggling right now. He's like a 6.3 in the playoffs. He hasn't been the reason that the Astros have been so good in the playoffs. So I mean, I think if Wheeler can keep the surge going and the offense goes, I mean, I think the Phillies can jump out. But man, it's just hard to pick against.
Yeah,
it's hard to pick against.
I mean, they haven't lost a game
yet. And the Astros.
They were the second best team in baseball. I think they had 106 wins.
Yeah,
only the Dodgers were better than them as far as overall. I mean, that's kind of who we thought it was going to come down to was the Dodgers and Astros.
I'd put my money on the Stros, but they're not sweeping.
Right.
They're not sweeping. In fact, I'm gonna pick the Phillies in Game 1.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick the Phillies in Game 1, and I think it's gonna go 4-2 Astros. That's what I think.
All right. Well, the NBA started up, and old Zion's already hurt.
Already hurt, man. Couple games in. Falls and hurts his hip. He lost
all that weight, looks so good, and he's got a boo-boo on his hip.
Already out tonight. Let's talk about the Queen City, man. Let's talk about Charlotte.
Talk about
Go
it.
2-1, two games.
2 games, 2-1 record.
2-1 start,
yeah.
Without LaMelo.
Yeah.
Without Terry Rozier. I mean, it's pretty good. Nick Richards stepping up.
Well, the Lakers are talking about trying to trade for Rozier.
Yeah, I heard that.
Basically because
they need some shooting.
Russell Westbrook sucks.
He does. He needs a change. I mean, I don't think he sucks, but
it's almost like
it's that confidence thing.
It's almost like he's tanking on purpose to try to get.
Did you see that shot the other night?
That Brick City.
That was horrible.
Even AD and LeBron looked at him like, what the hell was that?
No, I didn't watch it obviously, but I had to go look at it on YouTube to see that shot. But yeah, Russell Westbrook, the scapegoat, man. But is he really a scapegoat? We talked about it preseason.
Anthony Davis ain't really done anything.
No, LaFlop can't shoot either. Yeah. I mean, he's still scoring because he's LeBron, but still, I kind of enjoy watching the Lakers struggle.
Did I cut you off too quick on your Hornets?
No, I was just gonna say, I'm happy with the Hornets start, man. They're so undermanned.
Yeah.
And if Gordon Hayward can stay healthy, which is a big if, he's 20 a night. Nick Richards stepping up, I like it. Get LaMelo back. I mean, I think the Hornets, they took a big blow in this offseason, and we need the Hornets to be good around here.
And I went to see them play the Jazz last year, and it was fun. They're an entertaining group, fun to watch. They're a few pieces away from being able to, be a true contender, but yeah, I would love to see them.
Yeah, I think
find those two, 1 or 2 missing pieces, or have their players quit getting arrested.
Man, that was a big off season. How about Utah? You just mentioned Utah.
Yeah.
The Jazz. Danny Ainge trades away everything, and then they're off to a hot start too.
Yeah. Well, Colin Sexton, they brought him off the bench in the game one, and I think he had like 31 points or something like that. It was,
yeah.
But no, out in the West, to me, we've talked about we're not huge basketball fans, but if I was gonna have a favorite player today, Ja Morant.
Oh yeah,
that kid is must-see TV.
Yeah, he's the face of the NBA now to me going forward. I mean, I think Zion holds
could have been.
Zion holds it, but Ja Morant Zion is easily he draws you in because of his size and his athleticism, but Ja Morant is just so silky smooth, man. Everything he does is just. I bet when he goes to the fridge and pours milk, he looks smooth pouring milk. He's just smooth at everything.
He is.
Fun to watch.
I'm gonna try to catch some more hit their games just to watch him. But you got the Bucks. They look like they're gonna be one of the strong teams. Them and the Celtics.
Jumping out good.
Both of them looking good in the East. You got Jazz, Grizzly, and the Trailblazers haven't lost yet.
Yeah, so, there's some decent basketball being played right now.
Yep. All right, let's jump to another sport. There's a big game going on tonight.
That's big in our house.
Actually, it's
it's a big game if you consider last year's results.
You got the defending champs and Final Four teams. So you got the Avalanche and the Rangers going tonight, and it's the two leading scorers in the NHL.
Yeah,
Panarin, he leads the league and he's with the Rangers, and then how do you say it, Nichushkin?
I can't even, man. I can't.
He's got 11 points. He's tied with Sidney Crosby and Draisaitl with 11 points. Panarin has 12, and it's only been like 5 or 6 games played so far. So these guys are putting up 2 points a night. And that, I mentioned he's tied with Crosby. Talk about another, GOAT
that's a GOAT.
Doesn't. I would have thought his game would have started falling off by now. He's still on top.
He's still dominant,
and that's hard for me to say because that's one player I love to hate.
Yeah, well, he's been there for many moons.
And he's been a huge nemesis for my Rangers.
Yeah,
we affectionately call him Cindy instead of Sydney.
Sydney. I just realized, who's your captain again?
Trouba.
I didn't realize he was a Michigan man.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that until the other day. I was just reading up, and he's Michigan.
I thought I mentioned that
when
I toasted him. You don't pay attention to what I'm saying.
Not all the time. I'm usually reading my screen, but I didn't know he was a Michigan kid.
Yeah, so NBA and NHL just now getting started.
Well, let's mention Juraj Slafkovsky.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, the number 1 pick overall, 18 years old, youngest kid, scored his first goal.
Yeah.
Nice little wrist shot.
Cheers to that.
Yeah, it looked good.
Keep it up, young buck.
Look forward to watching him because I love the Canadians. I've always been a kind of a. It's a
throwback.
It's a blue chip. It's a blue chip in NHL.
You got them, the Rangers, the Bruins, the Red Wings. They're
Yep, for sure.
So
Slafkovsky.
All right, where you want to go? You want to talk some football?
Yeah, let's
talk a little NFL.
Yeah, let's do NFL.
Old CMC no longer in the Queen City.
Good job, Tep.
He got a haul for him.
Yeah, for sure.
No first, but a lot of picks.
A lot of picks, and it was the right move.
Yeah,
it was the right move for the Panthers. They needed to move off of him.
I really wish they could have got a first though, because
true,
they need a franchise quarterback, and they're probably going to be picking high enough to get one.
I think so.
But just in case they were to get on a little bit of a roll and fall to the 5th or 6th pick, if you got that extra first in your pocket, you can move up.
You
higher.
have some movement.
But no, he did get. I didn't think he'd get that much for slightly used up running back.
Yeah.
He's been healthy this year and he's looked good this year, but he's still got a lot of wear and tear on that body.
It was a good move. I applaud Tepper for allowing that to be traded.
Mm-hmm.
Him to be traded.
Because the fans ain't gonna be happy about it.
No,
that's the only reason that fans were going to the Panthers.
Fans need to understand that's not their only asset, but that was their aging asset that could bring them in that kind of picks. I mean, and I agree with the trade from this angle because Carolina's defense is good. Mm-hmm. They have an athlete on every level.
Right, and I've heard that they are not listening.
No,
to trade
they
offers
shouldn't.
On Burns.
They shouldn't. They have a top 10 NFL defense. They can add some more pieces in the draft.
I don't think they're that far from.
They aren't that far, and their offensive line, as bad as it was last year, is actually grading out top 10 right now in the NFL. And look at the rushing yards this weekend without C-Mac.
Yeah.
Deontay Foreman has been on the bench. He's not a bad running back.
I think when you have somebody like Christian McCaffrey, you want to give him the ball every single play, and it actually. I think what we saw this weekend, like you said, with the Deontay Foreman and Chuba Hubbard, and even DJ Moore, had good stats.
Right.
Because now the defense doesn't have to focus on
you become
just one
predictable
player.
As an offensive coordinator.
And I even saw it, and he wasn't really, he just got to San Francisco, but you still could see they were force feeding him when he was on the field. So
he's still got a burst.
Oh yeah,
he's still got a burst. He's a hell of an athlete.
He's still young, but he's still got a lot of. Ron Rivera, he abused that young man.
They did. But the Panthers, their defense. I don't think they should trade away their defense. They got a defense to build upon. Their offensive line is. Iggy is going to be a good one. Mm-hmm. And Bradley Bozeman started. Mm-hmm. He graded out really high. They have basically 4/5 of an offensive line right now. So they got one more piece.
Get that quarterback.
Get
one more wide receiver. I mean,
they got the pieces. No, they're not that far. DJ, imagine if you get a true number one and you have DJ as an inside guy, a possession guy, because DJ is not an over-the-top guy.
Yeah.
He's an inside possession guy who breaks a lot of tackles.
Yeah, run him on reverses.
Get
him the ball in space, kind of like a Deebo Samuel type of.
Steve Smith Sr. loves him.
Yeah.
And if Steve Smith Sr. loves him, I love him because I love listening to Steve Smith. He's accurate. He called the shot on the C-Mac trade. He's been real vocal about the Panthers front office. I love Steve Wilkes, the head coach. I mean, he got some vote of confidence from his players. I think the players love him. So, I mean, I think the Panthers fans, I'm a secondary Panthers fan, a Viking fan first, Panthers fan second, because I live in the Queen City. But, PJ looked good this weekend, graded out number 1 in the NFL as a quarterback. Can you believe that?
And just think about all the wasted capital and money on Darnold and Baker Mayfield. PJ started out the year, wasn't even going to make the team.
Nah, he was lucky
he was fourth string.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you had Baker, Darnold.
If it wasn't for the injury.
And Matt Corral from Ole Miss.
Yeah.
He was the third string. So PJ was either going to be looking for a job somewhere else or he was going to be on the practice squad.
I mean, he threw some dimes.
And now he's...
Yeah, I mean, he's still going to
looking like the best one on the roster.
He's still going to throw an interception or two. I mean, he's PJ, but... I mean, I think you can ride with PJ, man, and I think Steve Wilkes has a chance. He's got a chance.
Speaking of quarterbacks, I mentioned Baker Mayfield coming here to Carolina. Matty Ice lost his job in Indy.
Think that's a fake injury, just to save him some face for benching him? Grade 2 shoulder sprain.
Yeah,
Come
hard
on,
to
man.
say.
Bryce Young's playing with one.
That's true.
Anyway,
So, but just looking at all these vet quarterback moves, and none of them have panned out. Like I said, you got Matty Ice in Indy, you got Carson Wentz in Washington, Baker Mayfield here in Carolina.
They've bounced around for a reason. Or
Russell Wilson in Denver.
Who's the worst of all of them? I think Baker. Baker's looked the worst, technically, statistically.
Yeah.
Wentz had a couple of good games. Russell Wilson looks like a shadow of his former self. I mean, I understand Matty Ice. I mean, there was questions whether or not he was legitimately done or not.
Right. Well, I thought Russ still had a lot of throws left in that arm.
I mean, he looks lost, man, in Denver. Could be some coaching going on, though, because,
right.
I mean, who knows? But Aaron Rodgers struggling.
Yep.
T. Brady, he's struggling.
Well, it's a good thing we've got this new influx of young quarterbacks
because we're all
these that have been playing for the last 15, 20 years are on their way out.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
now it's going to be left to Joe Burrow, to Justin Herbert, to Tua, if he can stay healthy.
Josh Allen,
absolutely. Hell, Danny Dimes, if he keeps balling like he's balling.
I blew that on fantasy, man. I had Danny Dimes, and once again, I go with Matty Ice over Danny Dimes for fantasy this weekend.
Oh,
I thought matchups, man, and I was almost to pull the trigger on Danny Nichols, as I call him.
You know how I always talk about how we're bugged. So I'm driving to work Monday, and they're talking about the Giants game, and I'm listening to Keyshawn, Jay Will, and Max. Keyshawn, Jay Will and Max are both huge Giants fans. So they're, especially Max Kellerman, he's like, Danny Dimes this, Danny Dimes that. Keyshawn pulled a Dut. He's like, whoa, ease up on the nickname. I might call him Danny Nichols. I was like, no, the hell, he didn't just say that.
Stole my damn name, and I've been calling him Nichols for years.
You have been. Like I said, our studio is bugged.
Bugged, man. That's all right. That's cred, man. We take that cred. Yeah, well, how about your G-men, man?
Hey, I'm telling you, New York, we might have to just do a segment on New York football because they're taking over.
It's good, man.
The Bills were on a bye this week, so.
We keep trying to find reasons why the G-men aren't a good 5-1, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1 team.
I know it.
But, I mean, they're good.
Yeah.
But they got some injuries.
They do. We lost Evan Neal. He's going to be down 3 or 4 weeks. We lost our tight end, which was I don't know if you saw it, but.
I did.
He caught a hand in the face mask.
It broke his eye socket.
Yeah. I was afraid, because he had blood all down, and they rushed him to the hospital. I was like, I don't even know if I could burst or whatever, but I was like, I hope he doesn't lose his eye. But so it was just a fracture.
He's athletic, too.
Oh, yeah.
He's a good-looking tight end.
Yeah, he is. So yeah, the Giants got a tough one this week. They got to go to Seattle. And Seattle, I mean.
The Seahawks 4-3, man. What about them?
Pete Carroll is laughing his ass off. Bye, Russ. Geno Smith can be a better you.
I mean, we had the Seahawks. I had the Seahawks winning 3 games this year.
I thought, I saw them being in contention for the number 1 overall pick.
Sure, me too.
And,
me too.
It ain't looking like that's gonna come to fruition.
How about the Dolphins being led by Tua? They're just better.
Yeah, I mean,
they're better.
And he came back from that bad concussion, with his fingers gripped up and all that. When he came out, looked great on that opening drive, led him down the field for a touchdown. Second drive, he's running around, not sliding. Down. I'm like, Tua, we get it. You're not scared. But you still got to be smart.
I know.
We want you to have a long career, slide or throw the ball away.
He's not going to.
You ain't got to prove to us how tough you are and how you're not scared. We get it. We know that. We know you're tough. Take care of your body, young man. Slide.
Yeah, because the Dolphins are clearly a legit team with you. Without you, their struggle.
I do think he was rushing his throws a little bit because you didn't see that Tua accuracy.
Yeah, you're right.
He was
high throwing behind and high. Yep.
Pittsburgh had at least 3 or 4 interceptions in
Jalen Waddle runs one, scores from like 50 out if he hits him with a typical Tua lead pass.
Yeah, I think Tua was rushing his throws just a little bit too much, and that was costing him his typical accuracy. Of course, he's been out for 2.5 weeks, so he's going to have some rust.
A little rust for sure.
So hopefully he gets back on track and gets back to being, accurate Tua. So, but yeah, it was great to see him back on the field. It's hard to watch because you think every time he gets hit, is he going to get up?
It is worrisome every time, and then he wants to try to run people over, man. And I just don't.
He thought he they were celebrating the undefeated Dolphins, so maybe and he shook Larry Zonka's hand before the game started.
So he thought he was.
So maybe he thought he was the Zonk. But good to see him bow. Terrible. We were talking New York football. Terrible injury for the Jets.
Yeah. He was having a rookie of the year.
Breece Hall was looking good, and so he tore his ACL. He's out for the year. They traded for James Robinson, which is good. I mean,
a good trade.
Because he led Jacksonville in rushing the last 2 seasons, but he's kind of been an afterthought now that ATN is.
Yeah, they got ATN now, and then they have Hasty to back him up. So,
right. So I mean, it's a good
expendable,
good trade. And he was. I'm pretty sure he was an undrafted free agent anyway when Jacksonville got him. So they turned that into draft capital, and they've got 2 running backs like you said that can take care of the job.
Sure.
So it's good. It's a win-win for everybody,
really
for both
was.
teams. So let's see.
We kind of touched base on Dak. Dak looked pretty decent in his first game back. He had a good quarterback rating.
Right.
Cowboys looked good with Dak back under the center.
The NFC East.
Yeah, the NFC East.
Every team won.
Who would have thought that? Preseason we thought the NFC East was going to be a.
Well, the top 3 teams, the Giants, the Eagles, and the Cowboys, they're a combined 17-3.
I know. And the NFC South, horrible.
Yeah, I think the Bucks, as bad as they've been, they're still in the driver's seat.
The Panthers are in the number one. They're 2-0 in the conference. But if you think about it, the Bucks, the Packers, the Niners, they all fell to 3 and 4. And those preseason, all 3 of those were playoff teams.
Yeah.
Now, it's still early yet, but still,
it is. But
the Bucks are struggling. Todd Bowles.
We're a third of the way done.
Yeah, that's true.
We're going into week 8.
That's
we're
true.
almost halfway. We're almost halfway
done. Yeah.
So things are.
Todd Bowles is not an NFL head coach.
No.
He just wrecks. He seems to just not be able to be good.
Yep. And this isn't his first opportunity. So
and Leftwich is hurting his chances of a head coaching job because the Bucks offense is struggling. So yeah, it's interesting. And I struggled really to kind of find some really cool games for next week.
I picked a few.
The Ravens Buccaneers game I think would be a good Thursday night game.
I thought about that one because you got Brady, you
they
got
have to
Lamar.
Win. They're starting to get in these real win situations.
Right now the Bucks are just so hard to watch.
They are hard to watch.
And we talked about it.
Brady's
that offensive line.
Tom Brady's he's always been a throw at the back of his drop quarterback.
Right.
He releases the ball as soon as he hits his drops. Yeah. And you see him now, he's double clutching and he's inaccurate because he's double clutching and he's getting rushed from up in the middle. Well, no slow quarterback wants to be rushed from the center of the line. You prefer to be rushed left and right.
Yeah, you can step up.
Yeah, you can step up, you see it. But coming straight at you, it's a much different rush.
So, I watched that game, but I didn't put it as one of my games to watch.
Well, like I said, I struggled. I think
I did too. I've got Arizona and the Arizona and the Vikings.
Yeah, I got that one.
The Cardinals, now that they've got D-Hop back, looked a little bit better. So let's see.
Another option.
I've actually got the Niners and the Rams. I want to know which one of these teams is going to take a step in the right direction. The Niners got all this offensive firepower now. Can they put it together? Are both these teams just overrated?
Well,
the Rams.
Jimmy G's looks horrible, and Matthew Stafford, I think the elbow thing.
Yeah.
I think he's playing hurt. I knew that was going to be an issue, and it clearly looks like it.
So
I got New England against the Jets. I kind of picked that game out because I'm looking for but this was before last night.
I was going to say
New England worries me now. Last night they got a clear quarterback controversy. Which I really don't think they do. I think they rushed Mac Jones back.
Well, I think Mac rushed himself
Yeah,
back.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But they allowed it.
Pulled him.
Yeah,
after so
fast.
He
threw 6 passes and Belichick.
Yeah, that was not handled correctly.
I think he's trying to outsmart himself.
Yeah, that was not handled correctly. But I want to see the Jets because I consider that New England defense is pretty strong.
And then I got the Sunday night game, the Packers and the Bills. There again, I think the Bills are going to stomp them. But are the Packers going? The Packers, the Niners, the Rams, those were all preseason picks for playoffs.
Right.
They've all got only 3 wins on the season. So, I'm ready to see is one of these teams or 2 of these teams going to step up. Then, of course, I've also got. I think I skipped over the Giants at the Seahawks.
Yeah, I was about to say I didn't see it on
that. Actually, is probably the best.
I think that's the best
matchup of the weekend with 2 teams with winning records.
Two teams with winning records.
Are they as good as their records show, or are they doing it with smoke and mirrors?
Right.
So it's still going to be an intriguing game. It's always hard to go into Seattle and play, especially flying cross country. So. We'll see. It should be a good game, and the Giants are going to battle all the way to the end, whether they win or not. But so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, it should be a good game. I agree.
All right, let's talk a little college football.
Let's do it.
And the dumpster fire Texas A&M just keeps on keeping on.
Keeps on. That's the gift that keeps on giving.
Jimbo Fisher, the gift that keeps giving, and he's got a $100 million buyout. So what are you gonna do with him?
$100 million, man. Jimbo. I don't want to call the man a loser, but he seems to lose at every facet of life. Except he's a Division I coach, but
he's only had one season at A&M where he didn't lose at least 4 games.
Yeah, he's so vastly overrated as a coach.
Well, he hangs his hat on the one national championship at Florida State. He had the best player in the country, Jameis Winston.
Right.
Won him that national championship. He hangs it on being able to beat Nick.
He had a 6'5" wide receiver who went up and made the game-winning catch on a ball thrown through the gym.
Right.
I mean,
and victory over Nick Saban. And
right.
So people think he's, just this coaching.
I think it's karma to me that Jimbo's struggling.
So and then they suspended. The report said they weren't sure if it was 3 or 4, but this outstanding freshman class that they brought in or bought in.
Yeah.
3 of them have been suspended for some. They didn't give details. Some locker room incident, but 2 of these, this is their second offense. And
seems like he was warned about entitlement and prepaying players. That's not what the NIL was intended upon. We've had this discussion.
Yep.
There's coaches. There's a real well-known coach that warned the NCAA about the NIL and what it could become, and I think it's coming to fruition. We're starting to see it.
I think I heard you say the word, but karma's a bitch.
Karma's a bitch. So. Yeah, good for Jimbo. Good luck, Jimbo.
Right. I got another shakeup in my top 5.
Well, I kind of allowed you to mold my top 5 for this week.
Looks like you followed suit with me on number 5 there.
Yeah,
I bumped Clemson to 6.
Well, I got Clemson. I put Bama and Clemson outside looking in.
Yeah, I got.
I mean, I would put Clemson ahead of Bama just because they
haven't lost yet.
Yep. So they still have a decent W over NC State.
Right, but they were gifted a win this weekend.
Gifted.
I mean,
I watched the game, and I'm telling you that some of that officiating.
Oh, horrendous.
That was horrendous.
I mean, how do you? Okay,
it's just so.
Syracuse's quarterback is running down the sideline, parallel with the sideline. And Clemson's quarterback.
Yeah.
The backup, Klubnik, whatever his name is.
Cole Klubnik.
He's running parallel with the sideline, and the Syracuse guy doesn't
just shoulders
just
him.
kind of makes sure that he doesn't cut back in. He just body hip checks him onto the sideline
on a crucial third down.
3rd and 21.
Yeah.
3rd and 21.
Horrible flag.
Roughing the passer. Or unnecessary roughness, automatic first down, they go down, score a touchdown. It would have been a turnover on downs. the Syracuse quarterback, he's rolling out, running. He's going.
He's out of bounds.
He's going perpendicular.
He's clearly run out of bounds.
He's past. They got that thick white line on the sideline.
Right.
He was past that, and I was okay with the defender riding him out.
But then
he shoves him after he's 3-4 yards out of bounds and no flag.
Clearly shoves him. I could care less about either call, but you're going to call one. Be consistent, man. It was so to me, Clemson's just not impressive to me, and the fact
just
that
getting
DJ
by.
got pulled, DJ is not good.
Yeah,
he's not good,
and
he's not a playoff quarterback.
Dabo said he's the starting quarterback.
Sure.
So Dabo acts like he's going back to him, but
Clemson's going to have to ride their defense. Mm-hmm. They're going to have to ride their defense.
Well, in the ACC, you can get away with that.
And Shipley.
Yeah. And he can get away with that in the ACC.
Oh, they're fine in the ACC.
But they're going to get stomped in the playoffs. First game of the playoffs.
Yeah, they're playoff trash.
They're going to be one and done.
Playoff trash.
So, like I said, I moved them to 6. So that means I got a new team in my top 5, and it's not Alabama.
No.
I still look at them at number 7. My number 5 is TCU.
TCU for me.
They beat number 17 Kansas State, and they've won 4 straight games against ranked opponents. That's why I got Tennessee as my number 1 because of the resume.
Right.
Well, I brought TCU in. I didn't quite bump them up, any higher than 5.
No, I agree.
Given the competition, and
I wanted to bump TCU above Ohio.
I was just
because Ohio State's resume is weak.
Still no signature wins. They can get one this weekend.
Nah.
But it's still
it lost some luster.
It did, but it's still going to Penn State.
Sure.
Penn State's ranked, so it'll at least give them a road win over a ranked team. So it'll at least help a little bit with.
Will.
I mean, the Big East is still coming down to the Michigan-Ohio State game. So,
Big Ten.
Yeah, what I say, the Big East.
Big East. That's yuck, man.
Yeah.
Yuck.
The Big Ten. That's the statesman.
Yeah, no,
that's the statesman talking.
So I agree. I bumped Ohio to 4 in this poll just because I after listening last week, I started to look at their resume, and it's weak.
Yeah,
it's weak. The eye test tells me that they're.
I will say that they are.
Yeah,
beating the shit out of the teams they're playing.
Yeah, but that's not good enough when you start ranking.
I want to see.
And we're a week away from the committee.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday.
Yep.
We'll be here taping probably, and the new committee ranking will come out.
Yep.
I got Michigan 3.
I got your boys 3. They were idle. They got their in-state rival next week, but they should be able to handle.
They should
Sparty pretty easily. Number 2 Georgia, they were idle also. They got the Florida game this week, but really that's going to come down to the Tennessee game in 2 weeks. And I still got Tennessee as my number 1, and they got Kentucky this week and then Georgia next week. So we're going to find out a lot about Tennessee over these next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think we know Tennessee's good, but they're entering into a gauntlet. So we'll see. I agree. I put UT second, and I have Georgia number 1. And I based my number 1 ranking for the Bulldogs was solely based on the Oregon momentum.
Yeah. Oregon's
momentum.
That's what I said last week, that Oregon win is now looking a whole lot better.
It is. It's still a West Coast football team. I don't know how much I want to give too much credit, but UGA. I still think UGA's got a little offensive issues. But they can hang their hat on a solid defense for sure. But the Oregon momentum to me vaults UGA to number 1.
Yeah, I can see that. There's going to be a lot of things settled over the next couple of weeks. So.
Oh, yeah. And the dust is going to settle on all of it.
Right.
The dust is going to settle on Bama, handling business all the way out.
Alabama's, they got to go to LSU. They're on a bye this week, but then they have to go to LSU, which is not going to be,
LSU's on a roll.
LSU's starting to look good, so that's not going to be easy.
No.
They have to go to Ole Miss.
That's not going to be easy.
Lane's come close every time he's played.
Lane's kind of like, he understands the blueprint.
Yep.
I'm not incredibly worried about Ole Miss because they're a running team.
Right. They're not that high power.
They're
like
a
they were
dink and
last
dunk,
year.
and with the Eli Ricks emergence and McKinstry and Ricks, I mean I feel like we're pretty locked down. If we can work out our safety issues and
Well,
Henry Toto, he's just lost in coverage.
Well, yeah.
He's lost in coverage, but he's so good.
Yeah.
But he's lost.
He looked good last week.
He did. Maybe the Tennessee game embarrassed him.
Well, and Tennessee was putting their best wide receiver against our worst
Heupel, man.
DB.
Yeah, Heupel.
So, I mean, you got to give Heupel credit. He put his team in a better position to win because
he did.
Golding probably should have had Kool-Aid following.
We should have been locked down. Exactly.
Yeah, anywhere he went.
I thought the same thing.
But that's not what we do, and
that's not.
But
you're right.
That was 2 weeks ago, so we don't even need to talk about it. We got our asses whooped. Well,
hey,
we didn't really get our asses whooped.
I tell you what,
our DBs got their asses whooped.
The emergence of Eli Ricks.
That's going to be huge.
That's huge.
I don't know if you noticed who caught the last pass of the game.
I was going to say
Tyler Harrell, our Louisville transfer. So
our wideout situation.
So we might be getting a deep threat to kind of open things up, and it's almost like you said. Nick just kind of knows the right time to.
It is. It's like Eli Ricks, 6'2", emergence. Harrell back. We got what's his name came back too. He contributed Saturday. Another receiver.
JoJo. Or
no,
I know Aaron Anderson was also out.
Anyway,
yeah, but
we're putting together.
Yeah, they're building momentum at the right time, and if they can just keep that going and peak,
backs against the wall, that might be the best thing for them.
And then peak at the end of the season.
That's it.
Everything's right there for you. Got a few games to watch this weekend. I mentioned one already: Ohio State and Penn State.
Yeah,
two ranked teams. First semi-test for Ohio State, the Florida-Georgia game, even though I don't know that it's going to be a game.
Yeah, I don't know that Florida would have to play perfect.
Georgia does have some injuries, so that might help neutralize things a little bit, but I just don't know that Florida can, they might hang with them for a quarter, maybe a half.
Yeah,
but,
I could see.
Upsets happen all the time, so... Number 9 OK State against number 22 Kansas State.
Yeah, that should be entertaining.
They both recently had a loss. So, and then another game I already mentioned featuring 2 potential first-round quarterbacks in the NFL, and that's Kentucky and Tennessee with Levis and Hooker.
I didn't look at Levis's status. I'm assuming he's okay.
He played last week, so I'm assuming he's okay. I think I assumed he was just missing that one game, but I didn't look it up.
Okay.
I hope he plays because it makes the difference. Makes for a much better game. So,
of course, I got the Michigan State-Michigan game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always a good one for.
Well, there again,
Michigan people.
I don't see that being much of a game, but
shouldn't be, but.
Crazy
things have happened.
It's kind of like Alabama-Auburn. You throw the records out the window.
That's right.
And like you said, crazy things happen, and a lot of times the team that wasn't supposed to win comes out with the win.
Yeah, Michigan just needs to keep clicking on and knocking down these opponents in front of them for their November showdown.
Mm-hmm.
I legit think we got a chance, man. I legit think Michigan has a chance at the horseshoe.
Yeah, that's gonna be
it's gonna be a good game, man. But that Michigan defense, it's solid, man. It's really solid, and we'll see. I mean, I at the beginning of the year, I pretty much thought there was no opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But each passing week, I think the game's gonna be entertaining, at least entertaining. Anyway, that's it for me.
Yeah, that's all I've got over here. I think it's time that we. Make our way over to the bar, and we'll sample those 2 Old Foresters, and then we'll rate that shit. See you at the bar.
See you.
4, 3, 2, are you ready?
Welcome to Kolby's Bar, and it's time for Rate That Shit.
It is. Like we talked about earlier, we've got 2 more from the Old Forester collection. We've got the tried and true entry level, just straight Kentucky bourbon.
Straight from the bottom.
And then we've got the 1870, which is when this was originated. So I'm kind of curious to see. This one's, it's 90 proof. I said during the podcast 93, but it's actually 90 proof, whereas the original is 86. So be interested to see if they taste similar or.
This will almost complete us through the Forester line, right?
This will make number 6. It'll get us through all the Whiskey Row series.
Yeah.
But then there's still some out there, like you mentioned earlier, the birthday, and then there's some single batches that maybe we'll get some of those too, because I've been pleased with the Old Foresters.
Yeah, the Old Forester line has been excellent.
Was
and
never an Old Forester drinker, but
clearly so far through our taste test, it should be on your shelf if you're a collector or you just like to have a variety of choices.
We haven't given anything less than a 3.
No, it's been good.
So why don't you explain what we mean by giving less than a 3?
Yeah, so our Bourbon Buzz and Ballin, we have our own proprietary. It's really not proprietary, but it's how we rate our bourbon. So if you're watching, you can see it behind me, and if you're listening, I'll explain it. We do a 1 through 4 scale. 1 for us, it just didn't meet our palate. We don't like it. We brown bag a 1. We don't brown bag too many.
No.
To us, we love bourbon. So you got to be really bad to get brown bag. Number 2, it's a good bourbon. Might be a cheap stock bourbon. It might be a high proof bourbon that doesn't meet your palate. We call that a mixer. Number 3, the bourbon's getting better, getting smoother. We call that on the rocks. And last but not least, number 4, our top shelf. That's neat. That's how we like to drink our bourbon. I personally like to drink mine in this Glencairn. I think it adds to the whole flavor. It adds to the whole experience.
Yeah, it focuses all those notes and everything to your nose and your mouth, and that's
we bounce around a lot too. We drink a lot of different bourbons.
Oh, yeah.
We don't just stick to one mixer.
And like you mentioned, we're kind of stingy on our 4s, our neats, and we don't give out a lot of 1s because we typically aren't going to buy some shit off the bottom shelf.
No,
of the rack.
I mean nobody wants us to.
And we really haven't done any below. I was thinking about that today when you told me that we were going to do this one.
It's the cheapest, isn't it?
That's one of the cheapest ones.
Cheaper than the goat?
I think it is. Yeah, that was $21. $21. And we haven't done our rating system for price. We do the $1 sign, the $2 signs, and the $3 signs. We haven't done a $1 sign, which is $30 and under, in a while.
Right.
We've been on some of the higher price bourbon. So it's good that we're getting back to
the basics,
something that a little bit cheaper.
Well, it's available to everybody.
Exactly.
So you can pretty much go in any ABC or liquor store and you're going to find these. These have been widely available for us, and we live in North Carolina where it's a little harder to get some better stuff. So anyway,
well, they tell me that you should get a strong floral smell with some mint, tobacco, and vanilla.
I'm getting some vanilla for sure.
Yep.
Some vanilla,
maybe
off
a little floral. Not as they described it as strong.
I don't even honestly know what tobacco smells like. Have you ever smelled a tobacco leaf?
No.
Other than
like,
I've never felt the need to put my
chewing
nose
tobacco. I do get some floral. Now, as far as taste, you should have an oak and a pine up front. Then you get the mash. You get the corn and the rye, and then should finish with vanilla and orange.
I'm honestly really impressed with their descriptions.
We've been saying that. This will be the 3rd week in a row for saying that.
Really impressed with Old Forester's descriptions because it's excuse me, it's accurate. It's really accurate on the orange and the vanilla.
And I definitely got the woodsy.
Wood, yeah, I got the
front.
piney and the barrely taste up front. Finished off with the orange and the vanilla, the spice. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of complexity to it, as you wouldn't expect anyway. Out of $21, it's good. if you don't have much on your shelf and you do have an Old Forester, I would definitely drink that.
Yeah.
The proof is
A little bit of a hug.
the proof, 86 proof. That's pretty mild. I mean, that's a mixer for me. Obviously, there's no complexity to it.
Yeah.
It's a good taste. It's a really good taste, actually.
It is. I mean, for a $21 bottle of bourbon,
Yeah, you can't go wrong.
if we were pricing it, I mean, rating it and really giving a curve for the price, it might fall into a 3 for me, but just rating it on the taste and how I like it, I'm with you. It's a 2.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not a brown bag, and I had one ready because I wasn't
no,
sure.
No, it's
I wasn't sure.
No, it's if I could go up the scale, it would be like a 2 point.
Yeah.
Closer to the 3.
Well, yeah,
for
like I
me.
said, when you factor in that price value,
Exactly, and it was just a pleasant taste.
yeah, I mean, I would put it right there with a Jim Beam, a Crown Royal, that kind of level. To me, it's not quite to a Maker's Mark or a Buffalo
Right.
Trace.
Yeah, we
or
look for a
Woodford.
little bit more out of our bourbons, for
Right.
sure. But definitely for $21.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're going tailgating, you're going to a concert,
Sure. Yeah, sharing
you want
the bottle
you
around.
want to sneak a bottle in, pick one up. It'd be good for that. So yeah, not bad.
No, it's good.
And of course, I didn't have the expectations for this
Sure.
that I had for the higher end Old
Exactly.
Forester. So
Exactly.
not disappointed.
Not at all.
But yeah, it's definitely a 2 for me. All right, well, let's go to the 1870, which is the original date of the birth of Old Forester. And so this is what they call the original batch, 1870, 90 proof. So you get in there, we like our bourbons at least 90 proof. So this accomplishes that. This runs for about $55.
It's got definitely a little richer color than this first Old Forester.
Right. Yeah, it's in line. It lines up with the other ones from the collection. You're supposed to get a clove, citrus fruit, and then a little honeysuckle in the aroma.
On the nose, I'm definitely getting some citrus.
Yep.
On the nose, and I do want to say I'm getting a little sweetness. I don't know if it's honeysuckle to me. Definitely some sweetness to it.
It's got a good smell. And then the taste, it should start off with some like baking spices, like nutmeg, clove, cinnamon. So the spices you would bake with.
Tasted like a cookie to me.
Is what you're supposed to start with.
I did get it like a cookie.
Well, it's funny you say that because so after you get the spices, then you're supposed to get the citrus, but it's supposed to finish with shortbread.
How about that? You didn't tell me
No,
that.
you didn't even know that.
You didn't tell me
but
that.
That's
I
funny.
didn't read
It's
that, I
funny that
promise.
you said that
It
because
tastes like a cookie to me. It tasted almost like a sugar cookie.
well, they describe it as a shortbread sweetness.
That's high class to me.
And I thought these two might be a little bit closer in taste, but really not.
That's very nice. That's
That
very
is-
nice bourbon.
that's-
I mean, I could. I mean, I'm gonna have to put that a neat for me, man. I can't put a rock in that.
right.
I mean, I could, but I don't prefer that. But if you have this available on your shelf, I could drink that all day long.
That's high praise for. That's putting it there with the 1910 and the
I know.
and the Statesman.
I'm just happy with the Foresters, man. I'm just happy with the Foresters.
we'll
I
have
mean,
to-
I'm torn between, because the proof, it's a little lacking in proof to me.
Right, and
It is
that's
a
probably
little
what
lacking.
that's probably what I'm having a hard time making it neat.
Yeah, but I mean,
But
if
it does
it's-
meet usually that 90 is my lower limit.
If you're lacking in proof, though, it's hard to put a rock in it. From a drinking
Right.
standpoint, but I
Right.
guess I got to stick to our
Right,
our
yeah, I'm not-
rating
yeah,
system.
yeah.
So yeah, no, I definitely will put it a 3. It's definitely an on the rocks for me. I can't quite give it a neat, but it was. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I think it's a good bourbon.
I think we need to try one more. Because this one's got me on the fence.
Are you on the fence of
This
a 2 and a
no,
3?
no.
Okay, good.
No, this has got me.
I'm 4 and a 3.
You about had me talked into a 4.
Well, you talked me out
And
of
then
a 4 when
I
you
think
gave me that look.
I think I talked you out of it. That's why I'm like, we're gonna have to let me cleanse this palate one more time.
Yeah, I mean it's good, but it's 90. It should be smooth.
But it's got nice.
It's beautiful. It's
flavors.
really a good bourbon.
And like you said, that sweet cookie at the end.
Man, I'm gonna stick to our proprietary rating system, the 3, just because for me personally, it lacks a little bit of that pop from the proof for me to want to go to that. You know, I'll go to the Statesman over that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bourbons I would go to
1910.
over. Yeah.
And that's why I said that. When you were talking 4, that's when I was comparing it because we gave the Statesman and the 1910 a 4. It's like,
And that's $54.
Yeah, 55.
So I mean, $55. Yeah.
This was a very tough one. It's a solid 3.5.
Cheating. Yeah. If we might need to revamp our proprietary. We might need to go to some points because I was on the fence too. But I'm gonna stick with the 3. It's a good bourbon. It really is.
I'll stick with the 3 too.
I personally don't think you can go wrong with any of the Old Foresters. They're all good. The Statesman is
that finish on that right there.
Even the Prohibition that I'm sipping on here.
Yeah.
I mean that's a high proof, but it's a smooth high
Right.
proof.
And we gave that one a 3.
Yeah.
So, just to kind of recap the Old Forester. So just your regular straight Kentucky bourbon, 86 proof. We gave it a 2. The 1870, the 1920, and the 1897, which was the Bottled and Bond.
Bottled and Bond, 100.
Those 3, we gave 3s. And then the Statesman and the 1910, the Old Fine.
The Statesman's in a different location because it's almost gone.
It's almost empty. But there'll be a new bottle to replace it.
Yeah, always.
So we gave both of those a 4. And
Statesman's a top shelfer, so if you kind of have a bourbon bar or you have a collection, I think the Statesman clearly is a top shelfer. Bourbon, it's definitely, and I think Old Forester clearly has earned their right
I had no idea.
the top shelf collectible bourbon because the whole line is really good.
See, when I was growing up and bartending, it was just the old men, and I guess I'm an old man now.
You are an old
that
man,
would come
so
in
your
and
flavor, your
it
profile.
was only the old men that would come in and drink the Old Forester, so I always kind of associated Old Forester with that. And never really gained an appreciation for it being a damn good bourbon.
Well, we've become aficionados.
Yeah. I mean, back then I would drink Jim Beam, Jack Daniel, whatever.
It took me up until last year to get my 70-plus-year-old dad off of Jim Beam.
Yeah.
I mean, he thought Jim Beam was the bourbon of be all end all. Then he's gone to Woodford, and now I've kind of taught him that, hey, that's really not.
Yeah,
that's not the top shelf.
Yeah,
I mean, there's so many better.
Oh yeah.
But Woodford's good.
Yep.
But man, the Old Foresters clearly.
Yeah, I'm very impressed.
Brian put us on.
He did.
Old Foresters and suggested this review
and that's I'm gonna have to get him over here and set him up a flight.
Do a blind taste
and let him do the flight of the Whiskey Row series.
Yeah, it was good, man.
Yeah, that was good. It was a good show. We didn't really have any standout topics. We just kind of recap the week in sports.
Kind of hard to with all sports colliding at one time,
But I do want to have a topic for next week. Next week's Halloween. So I want to do kind of like a rapid fire Halloween themed discussion. Kind of like throw out there what's scarier, this or that. What's spookier, this or that. Which is a better treat, this or that. And we'll throw them at each other and, kind of like we did with the diss or respect, where
back and forth.
We didn't really know what was coming, but we just threw out topics. You just, think of it on the spot, come up with something. Kind of like the diss or respect. But this one, I want to do kind of like a Halloween type of theme on it. So
I'm down.
Let's do that next week. Of course, we'll do all our usual stuff. We'll open with a toast. We'll name some more scumbags. We'll come in hot with some.
They'll present themselves this week. I'm sure. Yeah. We'll find some more scumbags. Yep.
Then we'll come in hot with some current events. Do a quick little recap of what's going on in the world of sports, and then we'll do this rapid fire.
We haven't planned out where we're heading next with the bourbon, have we?
No, we have not.
We went to Tybee Island,
yeah.
Savannah.
Yeah.
You picked up a Savannah bourbon. I picked up.
No, I didn't get one.
Oh, I thought you got a Savannah bourbon.
No, that's where I got that blue. What's it called? Blue Run.
Blue Run.
Yeah. But I do. If you want to do the Savannah next week, I do have this Cape Fear, this frying pan from Cape Fear.
Okay.
So we can do the frying pan and the Savannah.
So we can compare Georgia bourbon versus, is that a North Carolina bourbon, Cape Fear?
Yep.
Yeah, so we can do a Georgia bourbon versus a Carolina bourbon next week.
I can't hardly see it. It's so fine print, but
I see the
NC. Elizabethtown.
There we go. So that's what we'll do.
Elizabethtown, NC. So we'll do that.
Couple of high price points.
It'll be the Civil War, North versus the South.
Versus the South. What's the better? Well, no, that's Carolina. Yeah, I've heard that discussion. When you think of Carolina, do you think of North Carolina or do you think of South Carolina?
North.
Which is the better Carolina?
North.
Well, that's a discussion. So maybe we should get a North Carolina, South Carolina bourbon, but we'll stick with the Savannah.
Well, that'd be North and South. Oh no, I was thinking Georgia, Savannah, Georgia. I don't know where I got South Carolina from.
That's what I was thinking.
I guess the S from Savannah.
If we had a South Carolina, it'd be perfect for a lead-in on that discussion. But no, we'll do some. These are some high point. How much was this one?
It was a gift. I don't know.
That's the best kind.
It was free. As my wife would say, it was free 99.
Free 99. Well, I think the bourbon I bought was 70.
It was pricey.
I think it was $70. Yeah, so it's not cheap, but
maybe I'll look and see if I can find a South Carolina, and we'll do a Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina.
There we go. He's always wanted to add additional bourbons to it. I finally got him to 2.
How far west do you want to go? We can get Old Soul for Mississippi. We can go. We already done Mississippi and Alabama because that shit sucked.
Yeah,
that
Mississippi
Dread River
won that one.
Old Soul definitely was better. So maybe after we declare the winner of North Carolina versus Georgia, they'll have to battle
South Carolina
and
Kentucky doesn't count.
Yeah, Kentucky wins.
Yeah,
they're the champs.
You're out of the discussion, Kentucky.
All right, well, I think we've talked enough, and I'm ready to hit this Statesman again. Yeah. So be sure and follow us on our socials. I didn't put them up there, but
Bourbon Buzz and Ballin.
That's right.
PR.
PR.
Bourbon Buzz and Ballin PR at gmail.com. Right. Email us. Give us some feedback. Check us out on YouTube, Bourbon Buzz and Ballin, Instagram, Bourbon Buzz and Ballin. Everything's
TikTok,
Bourbon Buzz and Ballin.
Everything.
TikTok, we're trying to put some TikToks out there.
Apple, Spotify.
That's it.
Everywhere.
We're gaining. We're getting some more followers.
Oh, yeah. Every week we add new people. And
it's rolling.
It's rolling.
I'm having a good time.
Oh, yeah. Having fun.
Drive on if you don't want to listen to us. Tune in to the bourbon part. Again, give us some feedback. Let us know what you like, what you dislike. Give us some bourbon choices that you might want to have us put up here and rate.
Yeah, especially some of these that I go in the store all the time and I'm like, never heard of that, and I don't necessarily want to buy a bottle because it might suck, kind of like some of these that are stuck on these shelves up here that got a lot of dust on them.
Yeah, they'll be for certain guests.
That's right.
Certain guests.
So,
sweet.
Anyway, we'll see y'all next week.
See you
Cheers.
next week. Cheers.